It is August the 4th, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Rec site in St. Simons Sound. And today we saw crews working with some power equipment in the marsh areas. They are spraying chipped up sphagnum moss onto the oiled marsh grass. And I guess this sphagnum moss is in theory supposed to attach to these oiled surfaces and maybe absorb some of the oil. But then we don't know really what happens to it after that. We don't know if it kind of falls off. You wait for the grass to die, fall over, winds up back in the marsh. I'm not really sure what the process is after that, but we saw that going on. They had a couple teams working the shore, and they had a couple of support boats that were with them. I think these guys were keeping them supplied with the materials they needed for this operation. But this was ongoing today back off the southwest tip of St.simons in the area of the Sea Island Golf Course. And looks like the guys were making pretty good headway from what we could see as the process was going on. Again, one of these things that they have to do after the tide has dropped out of the grass and before the tide or the incoming tide gets in and blocks them off from being able to work. So, you know, there's some coordination that has to take place with the tide chart in order for this kind of activity to take place. But we caught them out there, and they're moving ahead. And just really, they had a tremendous turnout of personnel over the area down here, where before we may have seen, 8 or 9 guys working on the site. Today, you'll see from some of the video, they really had a small army of folks out working these areas and trying to mitigate the oil that has washed up into the areas, and really working on that. Now, there was a little bit of good news. I guess you could say good news and bad news. Good news being we didn't see any of the oil drifting over towards St. Simons Island, that being the good news. The bad news is the wind's shifted, and it's back out of the northeast, and so it's kind of pushing that stuff back towards the back end of Jekyll Island on their northwest side. It looked like we could still see product on the water. We've got some of that video coming up as well. But yeah, it's kind of drifting back, and that's typically when, in the past, when we saw oil moving, that was the direction most of the time we saw it, because the prevailing wind right now is out of the northeast, and that would keep that material pushed back into the estuary between the Bird Island spoil area where those nesting shorebirds are and Jekyll Island. So all that was going on today. Didn't see as much product headed for St. Simons. It's going elsewhere in the Sound now. But here was look at the photo here. You can see those guys working with the environmental cleanup. Big turnout today, and you can see the bags of materials that they have as they've been collecting the pollutants and getting them bagged up and then put on carts and push back up the beach. The guys are they've got a tremendous effort going on here, and again, glad to have them and to see the response going on. It's good to see. We just really don't know how it is going to be in the marsh and dealing with the marsh, because we've got some of this, some more video coming up here in a couple of pictures, and we'll try to rehash this. But again, back. This is all at the end of St. Simons Island, where the Sea Island Golf Course is, kind of overlooking the wreck site, as well as what would be the north end of Jekyll Island from this point. St. Simons is the island to the north, Jekyll to the south. So all this is kind of here looking back to the south, and Jekyll Island and the wreck site, of course, is right out in front of this. It's like right here where we see the end of the rocks that kind of go around the south end of St. Simons. They kind of stop here at this point, and from here, heading back around, this would be more or less on the western side of the island, and it's just a little bit of sand here, and then everything turns into marsh. It's oyster beds and marsh as you start to really kind of get back in the estuary. And these guys are working right at the tip of where those rocks end, and then the rest of that, there's this little short stretch of sand, and then you start to see all this marsh grass. And now we can see it looks like an assessment team that's out looking and kind of walking. And keep it as the farther you get around, you start to run out of hard packed sand, and it turns more into marsh mud. Here we see the current buster back in use today, and this is over towards Jekyll Island. Here kind of we see some of the boats, and as you look out there, you can kind of see some streaks of that oil out there on the water. And we kind of made our way over that way, and then found a pretty significant streak of it ourselves, and so we got a little video of that. But here you can see this is some of that oil. It's just right on top of the water, and this is looks like this is going to continue for a little while. We still have Section 6 suspended. Now we understand that they tried to pick it up earlier today and then put it back down because so much oil was coming back off of it. They were just not ready to pick it up yet. Now, today when we made it by Section 6, we could see a new piece of equipment out on the site, and this looks like a cascade or a frac tank used to separate oil from water. This has been brought out to the site, and we think this is getting ready to play a major role in the collection of some of the product that's still on board the ship. Now, we've got some pictures here, and this is actually from McKay River in the estuary, where we can see some oiling here in the marsh grass. Back in the background back there would be the Frederica River and the south tip of St. Simons Island. But what we wanted to show you here is this is McKay River. This is part of the intercoastal waterway that kind of goes up the whole east coast. This is our little stretch of it. But right in here is an area, and this is not far from those shots we just showed you. This is an area that sustained some oiling earlier in the process, and you can kind of see the dieback here. And we're wondering if this is what we've got to expect on the southern tip of St. Simons.
Hey, Minorcan Navy, Captain Andy coming to you from the Minorcan Mullet. Still waiting on that root canal, so bear with me, guys. I appreciate your patience. It's day 5 of dealing with the oil coming off of section 6 as it hangs from the VB 10,000. This has been an ongoing problem. We hope we see that get straightened out here shortly, to the point maybe they can get it lifted and placed on the barge. It's really turning out to be a bad situation here locally. The amount of oil that we've seen in the marsh can't be good. We know that we're probably looking at a pretty significant amount of dieback in the marsh grass, and we don't know how it's going to affect the little small bits of life that finds its way to make a home along the shore, along with the oysters, the barnacles, all those things that work in that tidal zone where these areas have been affected, and what the long-term effects could possibly be. There's a lot to kind of soak in as we're seeing all this unfold in front of us. Hey, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us and watching the story unfold with us. We're going to ask you, if you haven't done it yet, the little bottom that's on the right hand side over there, click on it for us, and subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate that. You know, every now and then, if you don't mind, reach over there and maybe click on the thumbs up, let folks know that you like what we're doing. Continue to get the comments. I know I've been kind of slow in responding to comments. Bear with me. I'm not a lot of fun right now, and I'm hoping to get this straightened out soon, this dental issue. Hey, but most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there. All you guys, stay safe out there.